Hello, hello, all you 1.1 faithful listeners. I don't do YouTube videos very often. I don't make very many YouTube videos very often. Um, I've made a few in the past, uploaded them to YouTube. They weren't me talking to the camera. They were edited videos. I tinkered around with it for a little bit. I thought that I was pretty good, but not great. But I also realized that it was a lot of work, and I don't have a whole lot of time on my hands. So I decided not to keep going with it. I might pick it back up sometime in the future. But in the meantime, I am currently a truck driver. I drive all over the country, and obviously, when you're a truck driver, you don't have a whole lot of time, energy, uh, capability. You don't have the technology with you on the road to edit videos and whatnot. But I figured if I've got all this time on my hands, if I'm literally just going from point A to point B, and I've got nothing else to do, why not talk to the camera? So that's what I plan on doing. I don't have a whole lot of experience, like I said, talking directly to cameras. I haven't written out a plan yet. I honestly figured I'm just going to start talking to a camera right now. Just get used to the idea of talking to a camera, get comfortable with it, seeing how it goes. Not just to get reactions to it, but also I need to experience it myself. I need to see how I sound. I need to watch the videos myself and see how I act, how I look, and just get a feel for the whole thing all around to see if I can actually make a deal out of this. So here goes. Right now, I'm driving down the road. I believe I'm in Mississippi right now. Yeah, I crossed the border to Mississippi about a half hour ago. Today alone, I've been driving since about 7 a.m. I've been driving for a while, and this is the life. This is the life of a truck driver. You don't really do a whole lot, and that's the funny thing that I find about a lot of people that they complain about. Oh, I can't make money. Oh, I can't find a job. Oh, I can't. Whatever the case may be, that people have a lot of gripes, complaints about stuff, about not having enough money in their lives, or not being able to do this or that. Truck driving, not a hard job. I've worked over in Afghanistan and Iraq, and lived in those conditions, and worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for a year straight. It's not hard work, especially if you have the mentality of the job's got to be done, someone's got to do it, or for that matter, I personally I enjoy jobs that get my heart rate up. I enjoy jobs that make me sweat. I enjoy jobs that at the end of the day I feel like I've done something. I feel like I've made a difference. I feel like I can actually be proud of the work that I've done. Granted, at the same time, a lot of jobs don't pay you enough to make that effort worth it. Certain aspects to this job seem like it's not worth it. But if you actually sit down and look at what I'm actually doing, how hard this job is, how little I actually do, and ironically enough, how easy the job is to learn, there's not a whole lot of skill to it. If you can drive a car, chances are pretty damn good that you can drive one of these things too. Yes, they are bigger and heavier, so it takes more skill and finesse to accelerate properly, to decelerate properly, especially when coming to stop signs and stop lights and exiting the ramps. There's some skill required to backing this truck into spots. It's not an easy task. to learn how to properly maneuver this truck, the trailer, the 54-foot trailer that's on the back of this truck, into a parking spot. But once you've done it once, twice, 10 times, 100 times, it gets easy. It gets real easy. And that's all it takes. The first few times, be careful, only park in spots that have plenty of space. They have an empty spot on both sides of that one spot, and just practice moving into that spot over and over again. After that, eventually you can get it so good that you can back into a parking spot that has a trailer on both sides, and you've got 6 inches of space between both sides of your trailer, and you can squeeze it in there, and perfect every time. It's possible. I was only driving for about 4 months before I was able to do that. Granted, I was doing some really monotonous tasks up to that point. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on too. And granted, I know that I'm rambling on and I don't have any sort of linear thought process, and I'm probably not going to go back to things that I intended on talking about earlier. But I apologize. This is, like I said, this is new to me, and I'm just practicing talking to the camera, kind of getting my thoughts out. It's somewhat therapeutic. I don't have anyone to talk to at the moment, but at least I can get my thoughts out, and hopefully in the future you guys can respond and give me some ideas on how I can do these things better. At some point, I plan on writing my ideas down, my thoughts down, or at least a bullet points, so I have some sort of idea what I was going to talk about. But going back to what I was talking about before I talked about what I was talking about, everyone wants everything right now. Everyone's in a me, now mentality. And that very, 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 very rarely works out. Occasionally you can get lucky and, your life just flips upside down and you get everything and you're happy all the damn time, and so be it. But for 99.99% of the people out here in the world, that doesn't happen for us. You have to work hard. You have to, for example, in the trucking industry, you have to work up by steps. I've got a game plan in motion for myself. First, I went and got my CDL. Getting your CDL can be expensive, can be hard, but if you save a little bit here and there, eventually you can get enough to be able to afford the CDL school. Or there's also companies out there that will pay for your CDL school. Granted, once you finish with your CDL school, you won't be earning much from that company. They're gonna lock you down into that company, and they're gonna say, hey, either you pay all of this tuition back, or you work for us for the next year or for the next 2 years. But if you save up a little bit here and there, or go to one of them schools, you can get your CDL. And it takes studying. It takes hard work and practice. Most schools will actually put you into a truck and let you drive it around in a parking lot and practice accelerating, practice stopping, practice backing up, practice all kinds of things, so that you can get comfortable with being in this giant vehicle, and you will know how to properly back the vehicle. So you go to school, you get your CDL. Based on the scenario I just gave you, either you pay for your own CDL, you can find yourself a company that is willing to accept you as a brand new driver, or you found a company that is willing to pay for your CDL, and they will take you on and you drive for them. Both of those scenarios are perfectly good. Granted, like I said, the one where they pay for your CDL, they pay for you to get your CDL, they don't pay as well right out the door, but you also don't have to fork up the cash to go to school. Some schools are 1,500, some schools are 2,500, some schools are 5,000. I even heard of a school that's $10,000 for you to get your CDL. I wouldn't recommend that one just because it's not necessary, but do some shopping around and find your proper school. So once you get to a school or once you get to a company, your goal is not at that point to make buttloads of cash. Yes, truck driving can earn you lots of cash. There are some people on the road, a solo driver, someone who drives by themselves, they don't own a whole fleet of trucks, they only have one truck, can still earn $1 million per year. It's feasible. It's possible. It's not common, but it is possible. Especially if you plan on living in that truck and being on the road all the time. But like I said, your first goal as a truck driver is not to earn buttloads of cash and live the happy life and yada, 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 yada. Your first goal as a truck driver is to get the experience. It doesn't matter what you do, where you go, who you drive for at that point. You are a brand new driver. You have 0 years of experience. Very few companies will take you with 0 years of experience. Do some shopping around. Find those few companies. And I say a few, there's actually a pretty good handful of companies that will hire you as a brand new driver. I've seen quite a few. I drove for a few that will take you on, hire you on, and then every month you get a pay raise until your first year, and then you start getting a pay raise like every 6 months. Because at that point you're already earning quite a bit of money at that point. Now they just want to kind of keep you. Because here's the funny thing. That first year of experience is the most important. Once you get that first year of experience, then the doors open up. You can drive with just about any company out there. You can, as long as your record stays clean, you don't get speeding tickets, you don't have accidents, and this is talking about your CDL record and your personal driving record. It doesn't matter which vehicle you're driving, your record has to stay clean at all times as a truck driver, as long as you own that CDL. So as long as your record stays clean, and as long as you have at least a year of experience, the doors open up and you go from a handful of companies that are willing to hire you to now you have a whole plate. You have a significantly large amount. I'd say 10 times more companies will hire you after a year of experience. But that's your whole goal right now. Life is going to suck. You're going to be on the road nonstop. You're going to be just trolling away. They don't give you the best of opportunities as a brand new driver. You can do jobs that are home daily, but those are extraordinarily rare. You can do jobs that are slip seat, that where you jump into a seat of a truck, you drive it around for a day, and then at the end of the day, at the end of your shift, you hop out, someone else hops in that truck, and you're going at it. The problem is you don't know how well that truck is taken care of. The other driver might use and abuse that truck, might drive through potholes all the damn time, might leave the cabin littered with trash. You don't know if they change if they check the fluids on the truck, the important stuff. You don't know if they backed into something with the trailer and now they're going to sit there and blame you for it because, oh, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. He was the last person that drove it. Well, if you don't check on that beforehand, then it will be blamed on you. But yeah, going back to my original point, all you really need to do is find the best option for you, and there won't be many great options out there for you. Most likely, you're going to be on the road for 1 week straight, and then you'll get a day off, or you'll be on the road. A lot of companies nowadays are pushing for you to be on the road for a full month straight, 3 to 4 weeks straight, and then they'll give you a week off. Whoop-de-doo. Which, depending on your circumstances, that actually could be a good situation. Yeah, daddy's gone from the family. The kids don't get to see daddy for a month straight. But then all of a sudden, here's a week that daddy gets to go out and take you to the fair, or go fishing with you, or whatever the case may be. Daddy's there for a week, or your husband, or whatever the case may be, and you don't have to worry about, oh, I only get an hour before school and an hour after school, or if your partner is at work all the time and you only get maybe 2-3 hours after they get off work, and then you have to now go to work. So that could be a good scenario for you, but it's still not the greatest. But that's the thing. You're going to be earning, I'd say, take home maybe $700 a week. Still pretty good money compared to a lot of other people working at McDonald's or Walmart, or you name the corporation that hires people at minimum wage, and you'll be earning a boatload more than them. But you're not going to be earning $1 million a year. You're not going to be earning $100,000 a year. Not for the first year. But here's the thing. Once you get that year's worth of experience, your options open up. Once you get 2 years of experience, your options open up even more. And beyond that, it doesn't really matter all that much. People like to gloat and brag about, oh, I've been driving for 10 years. I've been driving for 40 years. Yay. But it doesn't matter that much. You're going to get paid just as much as everybody else. So as a brand new driver, all you really need to do is focus on getting your experience up, getting more time in the seat. And granted, you can jump from company to company to company, especially if you hop into the seat with a company and they decide to use and abuse you and not pay you what they claim that they're going to pay you, and they don't, there's companies out there. Hell, I'm with one of those companies right now. I'm sticking out with this company just because I might be a masochist. I kind of like the torture. And I have other income that makes it not necessary for me to need to do this job strictly for the money. But at the same time, like I said, I only have 6 months I think 7 months now of experience. I need a year of experience. Once I get that year, the doors open up, the floodgates open up, and I can now apply for not just bigger companies, because bigger companies in the trucking industry doesn't necessarily mean more money for you. Bigger companies usually means less money because they're trying to pinch a penny here and there. They've got 10,000 trucks, and they're trying to squeeze every penny they can out of every one of their drivers, so they're going to pay each driver less. And on top of that, the bigger the company is, the more likely they are to have dozens of drivers right behind you applying for the same job. So if you no longer drive for that company, then they've got 15 people right behind you that are willing to fill your seat. So they don't need to worry about paying you the best rates. So once you get your experience, you can go out into the world and you can start finding bigger and better companies. Hell, for that matter, while you're still driving for companies, while you're still getting your experience, let's say that you've got 10 months of experience. You need to get to that 12 months, right? To get that year's worth of experience so that companies will suddenly just start craving you. Still, they all start wanting you. You've got 10 months of experience right now, right? Start shopping right now. While you're driving around, look at names of all the other trucks that are around you. Hell, pull out your phone legally. Find a way to pull out your phone and take a picture of that truck. So now you have documentation. You have something to remind yourself, hey, I remember that company. Let me give them a call, see what they offer. Are they willing to offer me more money? Are they willing to give me better benefits? Are they willing to let me be home daily? Are they willing to give me better equipment? Because a lot of these trucking companies, especially the bigger ones, once again, trying to pinch that penny, they will give you the cheapest, lowest grade, bare bones vehicles ever. They don't want to pay more money for a fancy truck that has vibrating seats and insulated walls and comfy mattresses, APUs so that you don't have to have the engine running all the time. They don't want to pay the extra money for all these extra features because you are disposable. If you don't like what they give you, you can leave and they've got 12 more people willing to fill your seat. So just remember that. While you're driving, while you're getting the last bit of your experience, and here's another thing too. I meant to mention this earlier and I neglected it because my mind is all over the place all the time. Networking. Everywhere you go, everything you do, every person you run into, chat them up. Have a conversation. If you've got 5 minutes to talk to someone, make a new friend. Get their personal contact information and give them a holler every once in a while. Whatever the case may be, make friends everywhere you go. Because, especially in the trucking industry, there are hundreds of thousands of trucking companies out here. Some people only got 3 trucks, and they just had somebody quit, and now they've got a truck sitting around that they want to fill that seat with somebody. You might just fill their seat. And small guys like that, they usually are willing to give you a percentage of the load and not a per mile rate. Because the per mile rates, unless you're getting $2 a mile, they usually aren't great. But the smaller guys, they work with you a little bit better. They end up being more of a family. They take care of you better, and they pay you better. So talk around, meet people, make friends, network. And that goes back to applying for jobs too. 10 months out, start applying for jobs, or 10 months out, 2 months out, when you got 2 months left until you're ready to quit this company because you almost got that year of experience, start applying for other companies. And I found fairly easily that a lot of these other companies, while you're going through the interview process or the application process even, they will basically become your friend. They might not hire you, or you might not take the job, but they still sometimes are willing to help you out. They'll point you in the direction of a better company. Maybe this company that you're applying to has strict regulations or strict rules or strict, let's say you've got speeding tickets. You got a speeding ticket in your personal vehicle while you're on your downtime, and now a lot of companies out there don't want to hire you anymore because they don't want someone that takes a speeding ticket. There are actually recruiters that will deny you outright if you just tell them that you have a speeding ticket within the last year. But at the same time, that same recruiter sometimes will point you in the direction of a company that will take you. Networking's great. A lot of these companies, they talk to each other. So if their company doesn't want you or can't take you, or you don't like the benefits that they're offering you, or the equipment, or the pay, or whatever, they can point you to someone else that might just maybe pay better or provide what you want, or at least get closer to the goal anyway. So get out there, network, talk to people, make friends, and hell, it's boring out here on the road. Make friends anyway. Find people that you can call up, and you can both pass the boredom on the road. I was working in Afghanistan for a very long time as a civilian contractor. I was military too, but at this point I was doing it as a civilian contractor. I made a really good friend that he has his own trucking company. He's got lots of drivers, and as far as he's told me, all of his drivers, and when I say lots of drivers, I mean it's not 10 and it's not 1,000, but it's somewhere in between. And he says all of his drivers earn really good money, upwards of like 2, 3, 4, 5,000 a year. Not a year, sorry, a week. And I don't know if I lucked out just coming across this guy, or if it's just the skill of networking, finding the people out there in the world that are willing to help you out and that are good, wholesome people. When I was working with him, I worked with him for about 8 months in Afghanistan, and I don't know if you've ever heard it, but people in battle environments, people who are being shot at and who are always in danger of dying, they tend to create really close relationships, brother-like relationships, sister-like, however you want to call it. I've learned a lot about this guy personally, and I have no reason to believe that he is lying to me. Once I get enough experience to where his insurance company is willing to allow me to drive with him, and the lanes that he's driving for will allow me to carry their loads. Once I get enough experience to join his team, I should hopefully be set. But once again, I don't necessarily want to be driving forever as a company driver. At some point, I want to be able to save up enough money to buy my own truck and get out on the road on my own. Like I said, I've got a plan in motion for myself that I should be well off, and I hope everyone out there is able to hear this bit of advice and is willing and able to do the same for themselves. Make a plan for yourself. Prepare for your future. Make sure that you have contingencies. If what you're doing right now does not work out for you, make a plan to get out of it. I wouldn't recommend just quitting your job and hoping that something comes along. But while you're in the process of transitioning, while you're still working for the previous company, start applying with other companies. And that way you'll still have an income, but you'll be in transition to a different point in your life. And think 4, 5, 6 steps in the future. Now, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about 5 minutes out. I'm not talking about a day out. I'm not talking about even a year out. But steps. I want to move towards this step. You can plan. You can make a plan that I want this to happen by the end of this year, and then the next step will be another year after that. But at the very least, make a plan with steps. Know that I want to do this, and then I want to do this. I want to get my CDL. I want to earn a year's of experience. I want to find a really good company that's going to pay me really well. I want to save enough money to buy my own truck so that I can be employed by myself and not another company. I want to, at some point, retire from truck driving, invest my money into something that won't require me to be on the road at all times, because hopefully at this point I'll be earning at least $100,000 a year. And while you're on the road, you can be saving a lot of that money, unless you got family and kids, and they tend to spend quite a bit of it. But once you get your own truck, you can be earning a significant amount of money. Granted, a lot of that money goes into fuel and upkeep of your truck and purchasing the truck and insurance and licenses. But at the very least, you can have a plan. Say you own your own truck and you're earning $300,000 a year. 150 of that probably goes into your truck, whether it's fuel or the upkeep or whatever the case may be, because like I said, by this point you should hopefully be able to buy a truck outright and not have to you won't have a truck payment. But one way or another, you figure out how much of that money goes into your now business and how much of that money you can save, and then how much of that money you will spend on your family and your other finances, your personal finances. Budgeting is a great idea. Find a way to budget, even if it's a easy way to budget. And I'll go into video later on. I'm rambling. I'll probably make another video tomorrow or sometime this week about specifics. Now that I'm talking, I'm coming up with ideas of topics that I need to talk about. Right now, today, I'm going to try to stick to just truck driving. But actually, you know what? I think I'll leave it there. Thanks for sticking around. I don't know if anybody is watching this video at all. This is my first video that I've made like this, and I don't know if this will be any good. But please, like my channel. I've got a few videos on there. You can check out my other videos. And subscribe for the next time I upload a video. And I'll see you next time. Let's hope I can keep this going.